Hey there.
Hi, Junior Fleeters.
Hello, Junior Fleet.
Hello, Junior Fleeters.
And my biggest tip for racing would be to constantly check your lay lines and make sure you're not overshooting the mark.
One very important point to make your boat go fast. And it's really easy to do. It's the easiest thing you can do ever. Don't over trim. Don't over trim. Keep the more wind you have going over your sail at any given point, beat, reach, run, the faster you're going to go. So no, don't over trim.
My biggest tip for the Junior Fleet is to always try to find clear air. Butterflies can easily tack quickly and you can get away from the other boats. If you sail fast in clear air, you'll always be in the top half of the fleet. Good luck.
One of the things I learned last weekend was the importance of sailing downwind and taking advantage of wind shifts. Now, you all know from when you're sailing into the wind, close haul, that the wind sometimes moves back and forth, and so you're sometimes headed or sometimes lifted on a tack. And on one tack, if you're headed, if you tack over, then it'll be a lift on the other side. Well, that wind shift and that wind movement also happens when you're going downwind. So this weekend we had a particularly strong breeze and we were going dead downwind on the run. And what I was able to do was just basically point the boat at the finish line and then jibe the main back and forth on the various wind shifts. And your telltales will help you determine if you're sailing on the proper jibe or whether you're sailing by the lee. And if you do this effectively, what you'll find out is you'll go just as fast as the other boats or your competitors, but you'll go a shorter distance because you're going straight down the race course between the weather mark and the finish line, and therefore you'll end up passing them. So I hope this tip helps you out. Feel free to not just tack on wind shifts going upwind, but jibe on the wind shifts going downwind to sail at the same speed, but go shorter distance and pass your competitors.
So if I had any advice to give juniors, it would be boat speed. All you need to do is really concentrate on your boat speed at all times. If at any time you feel like your boat slowed down, try and figure out why. Try and figure out how to get your boat speed back up. And that may mean leveling it out, it may mean tipping it up a little bit, it may mean pulling your sail in or letting it out. Whatever the case is, focus on your boat speed. Can't go wrong there.
My biggest tip for racing is to always be on the line at the start, at the gun.
Had a couple thoughts about getting you to that first mark faster that may help you with your racing. After the start gun, it's very important for you to find some clear air. You don't want to be sailing behind anyone, and so you may have to tack away if you are, and or you may just have to go underneath someone and go a little bit faster, but do something to make sure that you have clear air. And if you can do that, that will get you to the mark much faster than the boats that don't have clear air. So figure out a way to do that. Try some different things, and I think you'll find it works really well.
Hey, I just want to say good luck out there sailing. Remember, keep your boat going fast, and if you're not sailing to the mark, you should probably tack over.
A little tip to tell you guys that I've been thinking about is something that I learned when I was, sailing. I was probably 8-9 years old, just getting into the sport. And one of the main things I learned was to just remain calm on the water. A lot of times things get messed up out there. Lines get twisted, things are gonna happen. The wind is gonna change, and you're gonna experience different conditions, but the main thing is just to stay calm, not get frustrated. And a lot of times I think that's a good life lesson too that I've learned from sailing. Not so much just being calm, but just totally holding yourself together in all circumstances.
Share with you the parts of racing that I think are most important. Starting in a sailboat race is crucial, as in every aspect, every activity in your life. Get ahead and stay ahead. Try to be as close to the line as possible and moving as fast as you can to try to get ahead and also into clear air. Shifting gears Just like riding a bike on hills, it is important to move your weight and change the sail trim when the wind changes. Be urgent about moving your weight and changing the sail trim when the wind gets higher, and also very important when the wind gets lighter. Tiller time. Spend as much time on the water as possible sailing just for fun and in races. You will become much more comfortable controlling your boat.
For all you young ladies out there, this is a great opportunity. Women are very, very good at this sport because we think ahead of what actually is about to happen. So this is a sport where you can hang with the boys and beat them. So I suggest that's what you go do.
When you're sailing in a race is to always try to sail the most lifted tack. Okay, if you are sailing a header, then that means that you are sailing farther and farther away from the mark. And that means you're gonna probably be slower than the boats that are sailing a header or a lifter. So if you get knocked, which is the same thing as being headed, then you want to tack so that you're on the lifted mark heading closer upwind.
Little piece of advice I can give you all is make sure and pay attention to the starting line, figure out if the port end is favored or the boat end, the starboard end is favored. And one thing I like to do, and I learned about when I was your age, is go over beyond the committee boat and sight between the starting flag, that would be the orange flag on the committee boat, and the pin end of the starting line, and then find a third point on shore. That way, when you're coming in, you're starting, and you really, it's hard to tell where the line is exactly when you get right up there, and you only have one end on your left, which is pin, and the boat on your right. If you can sight down and find the pin, and then that third mark that you found when you sighted the committee boat and the pin end, there'll be a spot on land which you have put in line with the pin, and then that's how you tell exactly or very close to where the starting line is.
Number one top tip is when in doubt, let it out. You got to let your sail breathe and not to be over trimmed. If you're over trimmed, you're going slow. It's kind of like sticking your hand outside of a car window. You stick your hand outside of a car window, it's pushing really, really hard because the wind is pushing on your hand, right? So if you put your hand flat like this, it kind of floats, right? So you can kind of move it up and down, chilling like a sail. So your hand outside of a car window kind of acts just like what a sail does. So when you're sailing, racing, make sure you're going fast, keeping your sail breathing. Don't over trim. Don't stick that hand outside of the car window and stop your boat. Okay?
So, have fun, sail safe, understand that you are all out there doing the same thing and you all should be having fun. As long as you're having fun, it's going to be great for all of you. So have fun.
So as Mike Terry just said, the most important part about sailing is go out there and have fun. And remember, you're sailing with your friends, so always be a great sportsman out there and cheer them on as you guys go sailing. Have fun!